Good evening. Welcome to this Big Read Lakeshore event. My name is Karen Rowe, and I'm a member of the Big Read Title Selection Committee, as well as the co-director with Audra Bolhuis of Big Read Lakeshore Professional Development for Teachers. Tonight's event, with its focus on Homer's Odyssey, connects us to Circe, our Big Read Lakeshore 2022 book by Madeline Miller. Joe Goodkin is a Chicago-based singer-songwriter with a bachelor's degree in classics from UW-Madison. For decades, he has toured the country performing his original one-man folk opera interpretations of Homer's Odyssey with over 300 performances in 43 U.S. states, Canada, Greece, Italy, and the Netherlands. Joe's performance of the Odyssey is a 35-minute folk opera retelling of Odysseus's famous exploits in 24 original songs. In a contemporary musical mode, his performance represents both the abridged plot and circumstances of the original oral composition of the Odyssey by the bardic tradition. Richard P. Martin, Stanford University, has described Joe's work in this way. Homeric poetry is rooted in song and song culture. Joe Goodkin's powerful renditions of episodes from the Odyssey, shaped in his highly personal, riveting musical idiom, recover an essential feature of archaic Greek epic. Its lyric-like emotional grip and feel, the immediacy of a live narrative voice. Joe's Odyssey and his rhapsodic travels to perform it make for the closest thing we might now have to Homer. Joe premiered his Odyssey in his parents' living room in March 17, 2002, to a crowd of 15 family and friends. His first public performance was 6 months later at his high school alma mater for an English class rereading the Odyssey. Creating and performing the Odyssey has led Joe to deeper understanding of two components of Homer's original, the characters and the mode of performance. A story about a journey home led him back to what originally fascinated him about the classics, how a millennia-old culture was so insightful about so many universal aspects of human existence. The stories Homer told and the mode in which he told them still move people today and are as relevant as they were 3,000 years ago. Joe sees and hears it in each and every performance he does and believes strongly that the guiding principles and features of oral tradition are still powerful, meaningful, and accurate. Join me in welcoming Joe, a traveling bard whose role is to move audiences with stories told in song.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming out. I'm honored to be a part of this Big Read program. As you can tell, I'm sort of into Homer, so you're my perfect audience, having just taken in another reception of the Odyssey. I'll give you another piece of the picture with my version of it. So you heard I studied classics at Wisconsin-Madison, where I got really into the Greek language, and that was my window into the Homeric poems. And not long after I graduated, I had the notion to try to recreate some of this song culture that you just heard about in a wonderful introduction, in a modern mode. I was really curious as to how hearing a story presented in song, in music, in a group, in a room, would be different from reading a text, a static text, by yourself. There's something about music to me, as you heard in the introduction, that acts on our brains in a different manner, and I was really curious to see how I could bring the story alive using those tools. What you'll see up here is a scene from Book 8 of the Odyssey. We have this wonderful representation of what one of these performances would have been like, we think, in the text itself. This is our bard, second from the left. He's got better clothes than me, but otherwise pretty much the same, right? Stringed instrument, singing stories about the Trojan War, about local heroes, about legends, about gods and goddesses. And we have our hero, Odysseus, all the way to the right, and he's so moved by this song he's hearing about his exploits in Troy, essentially, that he's crying and he's covering up his face to keep from being discovered. And I took this as a real vivid picture to how affecting these performances would have been. And I wanted to try to bring some of that back to us in the 21st century. So I'll say a couple more things about the slide that I'm going to perform for 35 minutes, and then we'll have a good 20 minutes afterwards for questions. Mild concerns and criticism are fine too. Anything that occurs to you about my performance, how it links up with the text you've read, Circe, and or the Odyssey, I hope. The two other things about this that I like to point out to modern audiences are, think about the construction of what's happening in this scene. We have the hero of our song within this song, listening to a song about himself. I mean, this is, for lack of a better term, very clever and very sophisticated and very meta. It's almost like the story is aware of its hero, and it's using its hero's own tools, storytelling, as a way to make a point here in this scene. And I was really taken by how incredibly sophisticated that was. And then the last thing is, I mentioned that Odysseus is crying here because he's so moved. And you can see the king of the court giving him the epic side-eye, because he's like, what is happening here? This guy came in my court, and he's crying at the song. I don't even know his name. I don't know who he is. And it's the king's recognition of Odysseus crying that opens up Odysseus to tell us his own story up to that point. Kind of these famous exploits about the Cyclops, about the Sirens, about all these things. So what I took that to mean is when we listen to a story in a group, we have not only our reaction, but we have our reactions to other people's reactions. And those reactions create other stories and other opportunities to tell stories. So I hope our discussion can be that. I hope you can react to what I do, what you read in Circe, react to your fellow audience members' reactions. You can all cry if you want. That's okay, I guess, if you're so moved. But I am an open book in talking about this. I can talk about the myth side, the classic side, the music side, the professional side of being a modern bard, which I enjoy doing. I'm happy to talk about all that. So should I go ahead and sing the story? I think I should. Okay. So if we could go to the next slide. Maybe. Point it over there. Come on, Hermes. Cool. Okay. Right. So I have something Homer didn't, which is a PowerPoint. Okay. I have to tell it. It never gets a laugh. I have to tell it anyway. It's part of my routine. So I'll encourage you to follow along with these lyrics that I hope will change as I sing, magically, or maybe with the help of an assistant. If you look underneath each song title in a parenthetical, you'll see which part of the story inspired this song. There's going to be 24 songs. It's going to take me about 35 minutes, I hope, without stopping. Fodder for discussion could be, do I cover all of the story, some of the story? Which parts were you expecting, which weren't? These are all great things to talk about. So with no further ado, this is my Odyssey. I'll see you in about 36 and a half minutes if everything goes well. And thank you so much for giving me this beautiful room and this beautiful audience to perform into. Does this sound okay for the... Great. Well, who am I? My own fire, born of you, but who am I? Born apart, why are you what you do? Name spread wide, but why are you born apart? Born apart. Oh, mother, now's my time. Oh, mother, I've seen the sign, and I'm off. A midnight prayer floating on the breeze, a high noon eagle, far above the trees. Well, I am on my way. I'm on my way. Oh, Father, where have you gone? Oh, Father, sailed into the dawn. Oh, 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 I'm off. A midnight prayer floating on the breeze. A high noon eagle, far above the trees. Well, I am on my way. I'm on my way. Darling child, don't run from me, 'cause I gave you life. I set you free. These aged eyes can't lose another man. You're all I have, and you're all I am. Well, darling child, I must let you go. Your time has come. I know it's so. These aged hands can't weave another night. Well, dreams descend on mortal men, and I'm left alone in the candlelight. Well, blood fell on stone and brought me here across the sea. Now I'm held against my will. I'm left alone with my tears. I need my love. Give me my love. I've suffered enough. I've suffered too much, too much. Well, I broke the chains and I unfurled the mast, and the stars are on my left and I'm on my way. sea is mine, how the water shines, and the stars are on my left and I'm on my way. My path is clear, I have no fear, if it's 20 days or 20 years. Well, I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I've got a light, and I've got a flame. I've got an ember in my embrace, but I know it won't be easy. Yes, I know it won't be easy. I breach the sea, and I reach the shore. Well, I've still got breath to feed my soul, but I know it won't be easy. Yes, I know it won't be easy. But I have the heart, if God should will. I have the heart, and it beats still. I have no name, just this dirty face. I have no home, just this strange place. For not the first time you invoke me with your breath. For not the last time I am with you, well, I'll watch over you till death. Till death. Till death. Till sometimes it's easier to sing than to breathe. Sometimes the song is there to help the blind see. But Sometimes you're there only to set the song free. It's what you need. It's why you bleed. And it's what you need. And it's why you bleed. I've got stories, and I've got pain. Seems like so much of my praying's been done in vain. Well, I walk the roads to reach the sea. Through it all, the world never got the best of me. Tested at every turn and beaten every day. Even the wind was against me as I made my way. I saw the ghosts of a checkered past. But through it all, I made my love last. Tempted by sweetness and beaten by scorn. It's taken me years to finally be reborn. From this time, I've had enough. I'm done with plague and death. Saved the skins I've shed. And through it all, I've saved the skins I've shed, 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 shed. Chains, dying for the best. The stars are on my left and I'm on my way. The sea is mine, but oh how the water shines. The stars are on my left and I'm on my way. I'm free again, and I just need to know, for not the first time, I can feel you. Will you have brought me here too? It's been so long since I kissed the dirt that mends all wounds, the dirt that heals all hurt. There's a fire on the hearth and there's an old dog at the gate, but they can't tame the feeling that there's something out of place. I feel them in my veins, so many names, like so many evils. They're haunting my soul. Oh, how I roam, but now my heart is home. My heart is home. My heart is home. Does not stand still. Time stands still for nobody. And it's 20 years, 20 years, 20 years, 20 years, and 50 fears, 50 fears, 50 fears, and 100 tears, 100 tears, 100 tears. For all I missed and for all I missed and what words can mend the years? What words can dry your tears? Your smile is mine, your eyes still shine like the day that I first held you. My hands are yours, your place is sure, like the day that I first called you my son. Father, now's our time. Oh, Father, I've seen the sign. We're off. A midnight prayer floating on the breeze. A high noon eagle far above the trees, trees. And we are on and we are on. We are on and we are on, and we are on our way. As you stand in the light, your face is like snow. Well, I'm standing right here, and I want you to know that my heart aches with laughter, but my smile I must hide. Now you can't see my eyes, and now I'm weeping and weeping and weeping inside. We are so close. You're so close, I can barely breathe. I can touch you, I can see. I need you now. How I missed you, how I missed you. You're so close. So close, so close, close. Well, all of my years rest on my skin. One straight line, you know that they begin to tell the story of my name, and of the life that I lived for pain. Pain for my enemies and more pain for my friends. I got suffering as means that I'm not suffering as an end. Well, don't speak my name and don't uncover me, 'cause the truth in time will set you know. It's gonna set you free. The truth in time will set you know. It's gonna set me free. The truth in time will set. I can feel it. It's coming. I can feel it, I'm humming. In every nerve, in every bird, in every word I speak, I'm humming, it's coming. In every truth I see, I'm humming like a bow, like a sparrow. It's coming, my heart's an arrow. Well, I'm singing, my head's ringing, oh, I'm taking it now. And I'm bleeding with a feeling, oh, I'm taking it now. Through the hum, through the hum. Through the hum, through the hum, through the hum. Whoa, whoa, like I live in you. The world never me like I live in you. Are you the man to whom I wed? Are you the man who built this bed? I have no choice but to test your heart. So for tonight, we'll sleep apart. Today, I'm just as you'd recall. I'm feeling my way until you made me crawl. But don't think I've given up on you. Well, I've come and gone like a feather in the night. I stare down the dawn, my eyes are burning bright. But don't think I've given up the fight. But I'm still me, and you're still you. There's nothing more for me to do but hold you, but hold you. I tried to speak, but you untied my words. My knees went weak the moment that I heard. Well, I see the sleepless nights on your precious face. Oh, your face. Well, you played the game. How could I forget that you felt the pain the moment that I left? I see the sleepless nights on your face. But I'm still me, and you're still you. There's nothing more for me to do but hold you, but hold you. The stars from my left and I'm on my way. The sea is mine. Oh, how the water shines. The stars from my left and I'm on my way. Well, I'm free again, and I won't let it weren't dreaming. Oh, you have brought me here too. You have brought me here too. Well, you have brought me here too. Finishing with a song called Water is like my reward. My water. Thank you guys so much for such a beautiful room, sounding room, feeling room. It means a lot to me to get the opportunity to do this, let alone to have a beautiful sounding, attentive audience. It's really moving. So while I catch my wits from that, I'm just going to open up the room to any questions or comments or clarifications or reactions. Who would be our first brave soul who will speak out with something to share? Prize for which is nothing at all. Sorry. Kleos, glory, just like the ancient Greeks. You get glory for being the first question.
I think it's pretty amazing to 35 minutes to remember everything.
Yeah. Most of the time. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. So I get that. How did you memorize 35, 37 minutes? And I basically memorized it as I wrote it. So it's not quite like there was 35 minutes and I had to memorize it. It was very sort of organic. Like I don't write music down at all. So I had to sort of remember it. And yeah, it's hard. It takes memory. But when you've done it 350 times, it becomes like breathing, you know. And it's not to say you don't forget things sometimes, but it's a different kind of forgetting. It's almost just like sort of losing your place and not losing yourself in the moment, and suddenly the words don't come out quite right. And that's actually where a lot of the innovation happens. That's where sometimes I'll think of something different to sing that's not on the screen, and it's either something I've done before or something I do in that moment. I try to strike a balance between it's obviously a composed piece, but bards innovate as they perform. So that's where memory comes in with that, I think, which would have been very much, I think, like the bards. So yeah, great. Yes? Where does my musical training come from? All over. My parents are both university-trained classical musicians. They started me on classical guitar when I was 8 years old. When I was like 12, I heard Led Zeppelin, and like classical guitar was over at that point. But I'm a huge fan of the blues and Americana music and singer-songwriter and classical music still to this day. I'm touched by a lot of different things. I think there's something to be, from every style of music you can find something, and that's what artists should do. They should be a combination of all these disparate things. So yeah. John Denver. I'll take his royalty statement. That's great. He's an incredible songwriter. I mean, I'm an incredible songwriter. So. No. Oh, God bless you. That's great. He's written a couple perfect songs. We're lucky if we have like a 70% perfect song, and he's got like a bunch of perfect songs. So, yeah. Yes.
So I'm free again, and I won't let it go. I'm free again, and I'm just teach now.
Yeah.
Are there times when you were writing this? Kind of things going on in your life? Because there's so many stories.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
Did things like speak to you from Odyssey that were also attuned to your life?
Yeah.
Like that quote, were you feeling things when you were
Yeah. Yeah. How does the material interact with the person who is receiving it and putting it back out? Most certainly. I wrote this as a much younger person, much younger person. And I like to say I was Telemachus' age when I wrote it, and I'm almost Odysseus' age now. As a 20-something-year-old reacting to this, and writing this, it's a lot. I'm reacting to different things. So there were definitely things I was like that guy going off to become an adult when I was writing this. I became an adult through doing this, which is kind of amazing. Something you said struck me, though. It's a 12,000 line poem, and I'm trying to do it in 37 minutes. So you're going to leave out a lot more than you put in, and that's uncomfortable for somebody who thinks the text is perfect in a lot of ways. But it's just the choices. Madeline Miller made her choice to tell a particular story. I make my choice to tell a particular part of the story. You have to, at some point, you have to cut it off and think that adding any more to it is going to make the rest of it weaker. And it's not scientific at all. It's just something you sort of feel as a creator. Like I think one more song. I wanted to one-up Homer, so I had 25 songs. Right. And one was about Odysseus' father, Laertes, at the end. And it worked perfectly with my conception about, sort of fathers and sons and family. But it just felt like tagged on at the end. Like, you're supposed to care about this character who comes in minute 36. And like, it was stronger if I just left that part out, maybe left it for somebody else. So yeah, great observation. So I don't have to do it again, do I? Cool. Yeah, it is, I see it like one organic piece. It's hard for me I've had to do like radio interviews where I do a sample, and to drop in the middle of it and try to sing one of these songs without the song before and after is a nightmare for me. It's like, I might as well be, it's bizarre. Everything sort of has to follow. Like that, I follow this roadmap kind of, I guess, in my head when I perform it. So I see it as a piece, as sort of an organism, yeah. Yes. Okay.
Has the piece changed at all?
Yeah.
Over the years that you've performed it?
Yeah.
Is it very close to how you wrote it?
Yeah.
Is my first question.
Okay, so I take these in parts. In my head, it's exactly the same piece because I don't think I've changed this projection since 2003. But I think if you heard me singing it, even this morning, for instance, I sang it for the public school, and I think it's a different performance every time I do it. And it definitely, like the recording that's out on Spotify, that, funnily enough, I have a CD for sale of. I don't know if anybody knows what CDs are anymore, but that's from 10 years ago. And I think if you listen to that, when you listen to that, it's like, it's the same thing, but it's different, totally different. So I see it in these kind of increments, I guess, of little bits of change that add up over time. And that's really profound to me, how something can be the same and different. So, yeah, second question?
That's a good segue. The second question, which is performing the same for 355.
Yeah.
Is there a particular performance that stands out as memorable?
Other than this one, you mean, yeah.
This one cannot be used as the
Oh, this one is just understood as being the... Man, I think about this a lot because I can sort of remember every performance, which is bizarre. Like if I really think about it, they're memorable for different reasons. So I've had performances that are kind of breakthroughs for me, where I feel like I found something, and it took me up to like another level. So I remember a show, and they're arbitrary. Like a show at University of Vermont in 2016, where it was like one of the first, or 2014, it was one of the first times I really was vulnerable in how I talked to the students' audience about my insecurities about the piece, like afterwards. And like it just opened up this whole other relationship with an audience. I thought, I just have to let people behind the curtain, like tell them the parts that you're nervous about or what have you. So there's things like that. There are memorable settings. Like I played it in Athens, Greece, almost exactly a year ago to the day at the American School. And that was like, performing the Odyssey in Greece. I mean, no offense, Holland, Michigan, but... no, I mean, I also performed in the Netherlands, funnily enough, that trip. But so there's that. I performed in Homer, Alaska, Homer and Homer, about a year and a half ago. That was amazing. My alma mater, Wisconsin, the first time I played, like, for the professors that inspired me, So they're all mixed together. I mean, I could go down the list and probably tell you something memorable about each and every performance. And that's the cool part to me, yeah. There was one I did in Mississippi where I was playing outside, and I was in Jackson at Millsaps College, and I was outside, and I had this PA system, and on the fourth song, the PA system basically exploded. Like, it just stopped working. And there were 200 people on the lawn, and I just unplugged and walked in the middle of this crowd and sang the rest of it. And I'm sure, like, in my head, it was a terrible performance, because I'm trying to project outside to 200 people. I mean, you're just like... I came back to play again 5 years later, and there were people still talking about the performance then because it was just memorable. It wasn't good or bad. It was memorable. So, yeah, great question. Yes, young lady? She's been saving it. That's trouble.
I've been teaching this story for 18 years, and every time I think of Odyssey in a slightly different way as a hero. And this year I've really been finding the ways that he is broken.
Yeah.
And then I think about Circe, the book by Marilyn Miller,
Yeah.
and how she conceives of Odysseus when he returns home and is so dissatisfied.
Right.
So I'm wondering what your concept of Odysseus is.
Wow, look at the time. Let's all give, no. What is my conception of Odysseus as a hero? Well, I'll give myself a little credit in that I think I wrote an Odysseus who can be a lot of different things, which is in keeping with this character. My current thinking about him is that, well, I gravitate towards certain songs. So, for instance, today I was thinking a lot about him reintegrating back into his family when he gets home, which is sort of connected to what you're saying. And that song, Time Does Not Stand Still, about this veteran coming back and having to deal with being gone for 20 years. And, like, that is such a heartbreaking aspect to think about. Whatever you think of his behavior while he's gone, like, we have examples of that all over. That is a really rough situation. There's no winners or losers. There's no winners, let's put it that way. So maybe that goes along with what you were saying about him. I also think that thinking about him as good or bad is something you can do if you want, but it's more interesting to me to just think about him as how human he is and how his personality is responsible for all the good things and bad things in his life. And that's all of us. We all have, these things that can be good and can be bad. And, hopefully we're not killing 108 suitors and whatever is part of our bad side. But, whatever your suitors are, we've all got them, So, yeah, I just totally dodged that question. But, that's very Odyssean. So, yes, I identify with him in that way. I am a guy who goes around telling stories about a guy who goes around telling stories. So how about that? Yeah. Great questions. Yes? Yes. Composing. Yeah.
Separate, are they something you work on continually, or just reading words you hear and
Yeah. Process. I like it. I'm kind of a music first before words person. And it's not so much about like the chords for the music as it is about some sort of feel that the words are going to go into, because you can have the right words on paper that look great, but if the feel and the meter doesn't work over the music, they're not the right words. So to me, I have to feel where the melody is going to land. So I'm almost always like they call it strum and hum, where you strum and you find a pocket, and then you start sort of humming where a melody is, and then words sort of rise up to meet this melody in the right ways. And song lyrics are great because they're kind of elastic. They have to make sense, but you have a lot of leeway if you're trying to get at an emotion. But I'm almost always a music person first. I can probably count 1 or 2 times I wrote lyrics out of hundreds of songs before I had some sort of musical idea. It may change the musical idea, but it's got to be music first. I need rhythm, I need meter, I need feel. So yeah, does that answer the question? Excellent. Yes? Do I think Odysseus is truly a hero? Wow. See, this is great. I'm not stalling, I promise. 350 performances, and you get asked questions different ways all the time. Like you're asking me questions I've never really had in the exact way. I'll give you a 2-part, one academic answer and one non-academic answer. One, I think what hero meant to the culture that created this and took it in is a lot different from the way we use the word. We use it as a moral judgment, right? That's a hero. That's somebody who goes into a burning building, I think this culture thought of heroes as people who survived, who were powerful, and you wanted to attach yourself to somebody who could survive this world, right? So I think, in that sense, he's a hero. He makes it home. A lot of other people don't. We have examples of that, and that's admirable for this world. Do I think he's a hero? I admire his perseverance. And I think, depending on the day, I think there's a lot to say for him, and some days I don't. So I dodged it again. How about that? But does that answer the question? Like, I think heroes, no, it doesn't, does it? Okay. Yeah, heroes just, it's a weird word that they wanted something different out of their heroes, I think, than we want. So, yeah. I want heroes that survive, though, generally. It's good. Got time for one or two more, maybe, before we hit the hour? Where do I go from here? That's a big question. Tomorrow I perform in Richmond, Indiana at Earlham College. And then I go to University of Kentucky for 2 shows. Then I go to West Virginia for a show. Then I go back to Chicago. Then I go to Austin, Texas next week. And yeah, so I'm a traveling bard, yeah. This traveling bard works a lot in the school year because most of my shows are in schools. So it's a busy time, and I feel really, clearly COVID shut down my travel plans. And I was lucky enough to work a lot with this virtually. It was interesting. This worked really well on Zoom for classes that were reading it. So compared to some of my musician friends who have more conventional music careers, I actually had a great couple years, doing this and my other piece. But I'm so happy to be out here doing this in rooms for people. It's like, I missed it so much. So maybe I am like Odysseus in that way. He gets home for a little while and then he's got to leave again, I think is pretty much the conventional wisdom. Yes?
So I like how you bring out 11th grade.
Yeah.
We talked about that this afternoon. Are there any other small characters not that super interesting, but maybe didn't make it within your framework
Yeah.
that you are just really interested in their voices?
Oh, man. Is it in the Odyssey where they talk about the fact that Agamemnon left a poet, a bard, to watch over his wife? The bard of Argos? Yeah. That guy. I want to write something about that guy. The bard that got to hang out with Clytemnestra while Agamemnon went to war. That's really minor, though. That's like universe stuff. Yeah, weird universe stuff. That's how my brain works, though. So let me just say thank you again for having me out for this large-scale event. To be a part of this, it's been awesome. It's been a great day getting to do this a couple times for 2 different audiences. As I mentioned, I have CDs of this for sale for $20 each, and they come with a poster with all the lyrics on them. Oh, there it is. I also have another piece called The Blues of Achilles, which is a retelling of the Iliad in a very sort of similar format, I guess. And I've got vinyl for that if you're interested in taking a chance on that. But both pieces are also available on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes because we do live in the 21st century. Ooh, 22nd century. I went one forward. I'm happy to hang out here too afterwards. And if you have any questions you wanna ask after the fact, you didn't feel comfortable asking in front of the audience, that's great. Or if you want to pick up a CD or poster, that's great too. Thank you again for having me. Anything else I can answer for you before we sort of end the official hour? Excellent. Well, thank you guys again so much for a great session.